back, everyone, to the Punk Rock Horror Podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Cody.
Today, we're here to remind you that whatever you're going through in life, whatever facet it is, whatever background you come from, when it comes to horror, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, and Freddy Krueger do not discriminate.
Yeah, they'll kill you no matter what.
Yeah, they'll definitely still kill you, flat out. So, I mean...
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
So...
Nah. At least Michael won't kill you during mid-coital.
I feel like...
I haven't
know.
seen Michael Myers kill anybody mid
maybe in a Rob Zombie film?
Did he?
Possibly.
No, because he killed the guys who... After they raped. No, it was in the middle. Never mind. Yep. All right. Never mind. He doesn't discriminate.
I'm glad we saw...
Well, at least it was a bad man, though. It wasn't two teens who were loving each other. Jason.
Yeah. What? I didn't know.
I didn't know they love each other. I just want my mommy.
I just kill who my mom points at.
And she's in my head. You think this hockey mask is an actual hockey mask? It's my gateway to my mommy.
This hockey mask helps me eat. And then he just like pulls up he just like takes like a fucking club sandwich, puts it in a blender with like milk, and just like blends it all. He's like,
you just see Chucky like off to the side going, the fuck is that?
Quick shout out, honorable mention. That is also a movie that was actually really heavily mentioned as a favorite in the LGBTQ community as well. Seed of Chucky.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because the kid doesn't know what he wants, what it wants.
Yeah, well, in they introduce
because he's the first trans.
What is the fucking kid's name? I actually can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Oh, but anyways,
it's a gender neutral name. I remember that because it goes both ways. Like Jamie. Oh my god,
was it Jamie? I feel like it now was Jamie. Either way, point being,
that was my. That I can remember. I know there was ones before it, but memory-wise, that was my first real interaction with the LGBTQ community.
Right. See, my only thing about him as a character is that I still am calling fucking shenanigans.
Glenn.
Glenn.
Glenn. Because he's like, that's like, right. No, Daddy, it's Glenda.
Yeah, and like finally, like fucking just like offs Chucky. Yeah, I remember now.
I laughed my ass off so bad. I was just, he's like, no, Daddy. It's Glenda.
But seriously though, like the one thing I will say about that movie that I'm still gonna call shenanigans on is that he fucking knows kung fu because he's from China. He's made in China. All right, whatever.
So was Chucky and Tiffany's doll.
Yeah, so why wasn't it fucking Crouching Tiger, Hidden Chucky then at that point? You know.
I don't know. I guess it's because Chucky and Tiffany had the minds of their original American forms, and he was
made in China.
I don't know, because he gives birth to him.
And you see why, like, I just kind of write off that film, because I'm just like, fuck it, whatever, man.
It's just, it's a popcorn movie, man.
If it means something to you, more power to you.
I like Seed of Chucky.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take it a fucking away from anybody. I couldn't get behind it.
I still want to see Glenn/Glenda in the new when they continue this series, because they already talked about how, because I remember me and you were talking about it, how in the Cult of Chucky and stuff, how they never address Glenn or Glenda, but they address Tiffany, of course.
Well, I'm wondering if
they say they do, because literally that week we saw an article. I was like, yeah, we're not done with Glenn.
Oh man, I'm wondering. We'll see if he comes back in the series.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He stuck with at the very end. He took the soul of the boy.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, the only reason I love that movie. I watched it a lot. That's why I remember. My favorite.
To be fair, it does have John Waters, and I do love John Waters.
My favorite death is, I think, John Waters' death.
He has the most spectacular one.
Acid melting and everything.
And it's fucking John Waters. He did Pink Flamingo, so he had fun with it.
God.
Which, shout out to a classic, really, really underground film. If you've seen Pink Flamingos, you know what Pink Flamingos is. If you haven't seen it, look it up at your own discretion. I mean, it's nothing gory, but you're gonna remember it.
Yeah, you'll remember it.
I mean, I guess there's technically some gore in it. But
that's not what you're gonna take away from that movie.
yeah, like it's a definite fucking trip. The credits literally almost made me vomit. So I mean,
bad.
which I guess it is a testament to the overall film itself.
That's what they wanted.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, no, it is John Waters, and he's a brilliant person, and I do genuinely mean that because watch enough interviews with him if you can, and you'll see what I'm talking about. I don't know, that's just my own personal perspective. But talking about personal perspectives, we are now gonna shift into our next segment of our Friday episode. One of our most popular segments called "Something You Love, Something You Hate." This is the segment of the show where if you're new to us, we will take something that we love and hate that's happened in our lives that we viewed in the past day, week, or month that we just want to talk on and share with you, ghouls, gals, green alike, and well, maybe get your perspectives on it. With that being said, because I did by technicality go first last time, Cody, why don't you take it away?
You did?
Yeah.
But that was a long time ago for me.
it's been a few years.
And that's the thing I hate.
My memory.
The thing I love this week actually, I've been really trying to find new outlets for myself because I've been really struggling with my mental health this month. That is actually the thing that I hate, is actually the hard struggle that it's really putting on me this entire month, because it's been hard. I mean, this month has actually been really hard on me.
Yeah.
And I mean, to the point where I didn't even really, given the world circumstances also, but I didn't really I wasn't looking forward to my birthday whatsoever this month. I didn't make any plans. Dev and my mom were bugging me about what I wanted to do for it, and I just couldn't.
Right.
I'm not excited about it or anything.
Well, and I know me and you are making plans for your birthday coming next month.
Yeah, and hopefully hopefully things calm down a little bit more in the world with the coughing thing. The other thing still needs to be in upheaval until that shit is fucking fixed, because Jesus Christ, it's 2020.
Right.
It should have already been way past fixed, but the fact that we're still talking about it now, I mean, is good, so I don't think it should be quiet. Going on. For me personally, it's just been my mental health. It's just been fucking terrible this month. The thing I love, though, kind of deals with it, because I've really stepped up to actually accepting the fact that I have issues with my mental health and stuff like that, and and the fact that I've starting to be more accepting of it a lot more. I know I've talked about it before, but the other biggest thing that I love is that since we're recording in person, as we said, last episode, recording in person again. I was able to come down and see my mom for the very first time since the pandemic started. So that's really the biggest thing that I love, is because I really needed to see my mom, man. It hit me hard. So yeah, so that's the thing I love, is I finally got some time with my mom and my stepdad, and it was just really good and really good for me, and I feel like it was nice.
You know what synchronicity is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when a bunch of similar events all happen at the same time, but have no discernible connection.
Yeah.
So the reason I mention it is because what you're talking about, I even actually talked to Lala recently about it this past week, about what's kind of interesting is that with the epidemic and the revolution that's happening at the same time, there seems to be this weird collective of a lot of people who are now reflecting on mental health, or having weird changes in their mental health. I mean, obviously, I'm going to use myself as an example here because I talked about it on the show literally even last Friday episode. Sorry.
Yeah.
And so, man, there's my cultural belief is within the supernatural and within nature itself. You can take what you want from that, but I also believe in science as well. And I think that it is interesting what's happening. So I think what's happening with you, man, is just part of change, part of everything's happening. But you're a fucking badass. You made it down here. You're pulling through. You're doing shit that only badasses do. So, I fucking pat you on the back for it, man. And we are totally gonna fucking celebrate your birthday. Don't you doubt that.
It's all right.
We're gonna do it. I swear to God, I'm gonna kick down your fucking door at fucking 6 a.m. and happy birthday, motherfucker. I'm just gonna throw a bottle on the ground that I have for no reason, and you're gonna be oh my God, was that a whole bottle of vodka and Red Bull? Let's go. It did. I mean, I'm not gonna wake up that early. Like, let's be honest. I hate waking up. That
I know
early.
it'll be 7 a.m.
It's gonna be 3 in the morning. I know you're going back up tonight.
And I'm gonna be like, "You never slept, did you?" Like, no.
I literally tailed you the entire way. I kept my lights off and everything. I was a literal hazard.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, I know I was saying, not a whole lot for my birthday and stuff like that. I mean, me and Dev are actually gonna do something for my birthday. We're gonna go fishing.
Right.
So
Well, it was hard to do things for birthdays in general, dude. I mean, like, even mine was.
Yeah, we couldn't do anything for yours, really. Of course, with the whole world thing going on.
Well, and even Erin's birthday, we weren't really able to celebrate hers properly, or the way we wanted to do it, and it's happened to a lot of people, man. So I would say take some solace in that you do have people that you can stand in some solidarity with on that.
Oh yeah, no, I know. It's just. Like I said, for me, mostly it wasn't like dealing with the whole pandemic and stuff for my birthday. It was just like for my own, in my own head and stuff. I was just like really, this entire month has mostly been like me really trying to piece back together some resemblance of how I was, used to be.
Yeah, I feel like if we had, the racial revolution first and then give that like a 6 months at least kind of space, then do COVID, then maybe it would be okay.
Yeah, I know. Get everyone on the same fucking page where we should be on equality, and then we can deal with, I don't want to wear a mask. Where's my haircut, Karen? Go fuck yourself, bitch.
Lala put it perfectly. The mask is just like sunscreen. Do you hate wearing it? Yes. Do you need it? Also, yes. What? Are you going to do it anyways just to get over with? Yes, it sucks, so just fucking do it.
My favorite meme that I ever saw about it was, so I'm going to wear a mask because experts say that it can help prevent me killing someone else by spreading a disease I might not even know I have yet.
Right.
If the experts are wrong, I had to wear a 1/2-inch cloth over my face for a little while. Oh, boo. Get the fuck over yourself. That's what they were saying. It was a joke. They're like, oh, man.
But no, it's true, man.
It is.
We can't pretend to be the dominant species if we can't handle fucking cloth.
Yeah, exactly. It's just fucking wear the mask when you're in public. Jesus Christ. When you're at home, don't wear it. You don't need to wear it when you're home. You know why? Because you're not fucking public.
Where you work, depending on what that's like, don't fucking wear it. I don't know what to tell you there, man.
It sucks wearing it at work and stuff, yeah, but just fucking do it. Jesus Christ. Just until this is over. Oh my God, I don't know why it's such a big deal.
Anyways. And I've even dropped the ball a couple times with not wearing my mask, and it's never on purpose. It's just totally forgot to do it. Yeah. It's just and it's again, not on purpose. It's more like an ADHD thing, but that's a whole entire subject.
Well, I know. Well, it's just the funny thing for me is wear a mask. You're impeding my rights. What right is it impeding?
Right.
Just wear the fucking mask for a medical thing. Jesus Christ, they're just saying you should wear a mask. This is my favorite thing about businesses. When they say you need to wear a fucking mask, they can say you need to wear a fucking mask. It's their business. Get over yourself, Karen and John.
I know it's a real testament to ignorance when you can actually say no to someone whose literal profession, and what they legitimately chose to study, is you're choosing to disprove over a few articles you read off Google. So
that were written by some person in a hole that has never seen a human being.
Right, and then I know somebody's gonna be like, "Hey man, isn't that who you guys are with horror?" Fuck no, we've been watching our entire life. Go fuck yourself.
I know. See, we prepped ourselves for this. This is why I love the movie Contagion.
Yeah,
because they're like, "Hey, when this shit goes down, maybe listen to an expert. Wear a mask."
Yeah, right, exactly.
Okay, what do you love and hate?
So what I love and hate is I'll start off on what I hate and then go into what I love. So what I hate this week is and this actually happened to me. So, and I'm gonna have to omit a few parts of it just to protect us. But I was at a place of work recently, and I was with a group of people, and in this group of people, there was an individual who was talking about the murder of George Floyd, and you know what happened? Okay. So So here's what happened. Instead of this individual accepting the reality for what it is, what did happen is that this person fully is more willing to believe a conspiracy video explaining that it was an agenda propagated or staged by the Freemasons, and that they were actors, and that
I saw that one, but except it was the Democrats.
right, and the proof they have is that George Floyd is at his own funeral. So first off, obviously, hold on. So first off, obviously, extremely tasteless that that's even a conspiracy theory. You know, just in poor taste in general. I mean, like, look, man, I'm cool with fucking lizard people, and you thinking the fucking Earth is flat, whatever. Do whatever the fuck you want. But here's what's really frustrating. One, not only did this individual who I literally was having this conversation with not consider that maybe it was, you know, a sibling, and that, you know, weirdly enough, families can carry similar traits among each other, but also...
That's why you generally look like one of your parents?
Right. Also, the other thing, I was like, oh my god, is this also the case of somebody not distinguishing a difference between someone who is a person of color?
Like, they all look alike.
Right. And so it was just like, it's like this individual kept talking about it and was just like, everyone can believe what they want to believe. You know, the information's out there. You can find it out. And I'm like, yeah, but there's also fucking facts.
Yeah. There's facts. Now, my favorite conspiracy about it all was they were saying it's all staged because the cop who was saying, this is what happens, you do drugs, kids,
right.
I'm a piece of shit. He was wearing a different uniform, and it's like, he's a bike cop.
Yeah.
They wear different uniforms.
Right.
Every division of the police force has a different uniform that's not all just the blue.
Right. That aside, conspiracy theories are great, you know, when they're all in fun and what the fuck ever. But when it comes to something like this, when it's literally... why it's just really hurtful to the whole thing, obviously besides just how fucking disrespectful it is also that it's spreading, like, misinformation that isn't true, that isn't accurate, and only helps perpetuate a huge struggle that everybody is pushing for right now with equality and with social justice among races, you know, the things that are very apparent in our face, and that should be in everybody's face as well, you know. And it's just, I can't believe that we've come to the point of society where we're willing to fucking believe some fucking nut job who says, oh yeah, they're crisis actors. Like, for fuck's sake, like, even if you were 100% right and you could prove it, and don't tell me you can, because your sources are fucked. I know they are. I've done the research into your own conspiracies as well, and holy shit, man, I have seen middle schoolers come up with better shit.
I came up with better shit while taking a shit.
Right. So here's the thing. Here's my argument towards every single person who thinks that this is legit. Maybe you being this type of conspiracy theorist is actually a conspiracy constructed by the government, Freemasons, and the Illuminati to make you believe that you are finding actual information in order to spread misinformation among the masses so that, you know, actual racial justice can't be, you know, solved, for example. So maybe the real conspiracy is the conspiracy of disinformation and you're the problem of it.
Mic drop.
So I'm just gonna leave it there. Thing I'm gonna end on that I love though. So when I get this upset and get this frustrated, you know what's one game I've been really enjoying to take it out on? Fucking Maneater. So we've talked about Maneater a little bit, but if you don't know what Maneater is, it's a game from Tripwire, which shout out to the amazing publisher Tripwire. They're one of the few that fucking get it. They know how to make great fucking games for their exact demographic.
Play Killing Floor 2 with us.
Do that.
Made by Tripwire.
Made by Tripwire. But you play as a shark, and your whole objective is to evolve and become bigger and avenge the shark hunter that killed your mother. And so like it's actually a really fucking cool game because it actually has legit like marine biology facts in it, and it's really cool at that, but it has like a really funny, like, you know,
visceral
jab at humor type of way of like talking about like each monument that they have there. Like they even have like those are the landmarks, right?
Yeah.
Is what I'm talking about. These are the monuments that you can uncover, and they all have like little facts. Like there's one in a swamp that's literally dedicated to Lovecraft Lovecraft lore and like Cthulhu itself. And then like there, you know, I showed you the picture of one that's, you know, an Easter egg for Killing Floor
Killing
too.
Floor logo.
Yeah, the Horizon, I think it is, or yeah, it's Horizon.
Yeah, Horizon, the company that created the Zeds.
Yeah, and so like it's a really fucking great game. It's made really well, and it's honestly like one of the cooler monster games you could play as, where you're a fucking just a vicious shark. But so, anyways, obviously,
it's the best Jaws game since Jaws Unleashed.
Oh yeah,
I will fight you if you say that was a terrible game.
Fucking well, so
that
what's
was
great
a fun game.
So like, what's great about it is like obviously you have to eat like, you know, sea life because you're a shark, and so it's part of the ecosystem and whatnot. But you can also eat humans, and it's so fun because they made it such a great way for you to like have fun eating humans, like, you know, and it's just like they really kind of cement the fact like why you're a shark that's on like you know, a power trip of one, you know, of Mother Nature fighting back.
Yeah,
and so like you're learning a really important lesson, but then it's also really fun to just like see, you know, a couple on a flamingo boat coming by and you just jump up and
rip their head off and just like thrash around.
Sorry, Leo. I'm sorry if that audio was really loud. I
thought you were about to say, sorry, Leo. I guess the door wasn't big enough for you both.
Well, yeah, it's a fucking fantastic game, man. Like, it's really fun. It's cool. I did.
Yeah.
It's $40. Check it out. You know, it's definitely not going to be like the most like RPG heavy type of game. Like, you're not going to get like a full rich experience like you would in The Witcher or what have you.
You're a shark.
Yeah, you're a shark and you're fucking dominating nature. Go enjoy it. It's fun.
I feel like that should sell it enough. You're a shark.
Yeah.
You get to be an amazing shark.
Yeah, callback to when games could just like be, you know, great solely off a gimmick.
Oh yeah, because I a lot of the reviews that I saw of it, because I really do want to get Maneater, especially after you've talked to me about it. But like one of the best things that they said is like, yeah, it could kind of get a little tedious and repetitive, but it's the fact that they made it like a true old-fashioned arcade game where you go in, you just have a lot of fun, doing what you do. Yeah, there's a little story, but it's like, come on, you just want to swim around and eat people.
Right. Like I wasted like 2 or 3 hours on it the other night, and it's just fun, man. Just like exploring everything you can, and just like, you know, becoming bigger and just being like, fuck yeah, let's fucking go alligators. Fucking let's see who's the real champ now.
Come here, Shamu.
I haven't got to that part yet, but I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm getting to the part where you can fucking kill whales. I just got to the part where you can actually fight other sharks.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it's pretty tight. Like, just fucking check it out, man.
I'm gonna check it out when I get a chance. Once I'm done with Divinity. Oh my god, I downloaded. Yeah. So okay. So that's the thing that I meant to drop a little bit when I was talking about finding different ways of curing my mental health, is because my old hobbies, like, they're not there anymore. Like, I feel like I don't enjoy them as much as I used to, like shooters and whatnot. And so I wanted to like change it up a little bit. This is also one reason why I want to get Maneater, is because it's just a different play style than what I'm normally used to. So I picked up Persona 5 and Divinity Original Sin 2 on the Switch. Persona 5 on the PlayStation, Divinity on the Switch because I was on sale with the big Switch sale. Yeah. And I just remember for the longest time I hated turn-based combat outside of Pokemon. And it was after I didn't beat it, but after Final Fantasy X I just lost interest in turn-based combat. And so, but I picked these two games up, and oh my god, it's so much fun. Like, actually having to put thought into my combat now instead of just, swing guns and knives, you know? Right. Like, actually putting thought into it has helped me out a lot, too. And so I think that I like the taste change, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's one reason why I want to check out Maneater, is because it's different, you know? Yeah, like the combat definitely takes a minute to get used to. You just got to learn to not rely on the camera and just learn to move the shark around in like an acrobatic, you know, graceful way. Like, and then that point it gets really fun because just know when to dodge. It's really easy to dodge in that game. The signs are clear giveaways. But it's a fun game, dude. And it's honestly a weirdly calming game because you just like fucking swimming. Yeah. I watched the clips that I've seen from the reviews. It looks beautiful. Yeah, man. The detail is done really well in the game. Like, I was like, okay. If there's ever going to be a game done for, you know, full on water, this is like I think a good starting point. Fucking just for me personally, I'm just kind of curious, you listeners, like for all you gamers out there, have you had a change in taste of video games lately? If you have, I'm curious what are y'all y'all playing? Like,
Right.
send us a message. What you guys playing? Are you straight up playing horror shooters? Like, I'm curious. Let us know.
Tell us. Send us pictures. Let us know your stories. You can do that over on Instagram, Punk Rock Horror Podcast. Give us a shout out, or on Twitter at officialprhp. Just tag us on that, and
Yeah, because if you guys are maybe playing games that we're playing, maybe we'll have a big old game BRHP game party.
Ooh. Yeah, because that game stream of ours went great.
Well, maybe not stream it, but we could all get together and then try streaming later.
I know. Honestly, man,
I'd like us to get back into streaming, like it with me more at the helm with you.
Here's what I'll say, man. For when I did the streaming for the games, it was definitely weird because I felt far more vulnerable during it because I'm so used to like interacting via this way.
Yeah.
Whereas that's in a more real time type of sense. And so like, because I didn't even know how to fucking like adapt to it.
Yeah.
So I like watched like YouTube videos of like, hey, what are some tips for like streamers? What should I do? You know, and I don't remember her name, but I watched this one streamer and she was talking about like it's bad to like leave like too long of like dead silence. So like you want to try to keep that like less than like 10 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like I'm trying to like, you know, always try to talk about something else, and then I'm just like running out of shit to talk about because I'm used to like going for like an hour, like 5-10 minute break to another hour here, and then for constant like even trying to do 3 to 4 hours, at some point I just get quiet and just focus on the game. And I'm just like,
well, I mean, that's how we are when we're playing together anyways. Like when me and you play, we'll be like talking up a storm for the first like couple hours, but then when shit gets real, we're like
right. I mean, I'm totally willing to go back to streaming gaming. I mean, I'm like, if there's generally enough interest from our fan base, they want to see that, I will put it on a platform that's more accessible, that isn't only Twitch. You know, maybe like YouTube or Facebook. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure something out.
But if there is a general interest, let us know. Best way to do that is shout us out again on Twitter and on Instagram. Twitter at officialprhp, or Instagram Punk Rock Horror Podcast. But with that being said,
let's get into our movies.
Yeah, jumping into the meat of it. So within theme of our Monday episode of LGBTQI plus horror films, we have picked 2 horror films that are regarded as LGBTQI plus horror films, and we're going to make the case for them because we feel they are underappreciated or not talked about enough. And maybe there's one that you have been thinking about checking out, and maybe it's the one that we finally decided to review. So jumping into it, buddy.
I think I'm first this time.
No, because I finished last time.
Yeah, I did House Invictus.
Yeah,
first.
and I
right,
did.
Because I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I watched it, and I now I know you had to explain the twist a little bit to me, just because I can't actually say it, because if I do, it would give it away.
It's a huge spoiler.
Yeah,
it is a mind blower.
But when you said,
because it explains that interaction in the beginning.
Well, the 2 words that you put together there, I didn't think would ever even go together, based off the
theological?
Yeah, the theological difference between them that seems apparent, you know?
Right?
So, yeah, I mean, it was solid, you know?
Yeah.
Lauren told me that she actually was a little too scared to watch the Tokalash because of my review of it, so I feel kind of bad. I hope people do actually watch the Tokalash. It legitimately is.
I really want to go back and watch it. I want to go watch it.
The Tokalash?
Yeah, Tokalash.
Yeah, it's a fucking, like I said, man, it's a sweet, like, fucking take on, like, a folklore that I never knew existed.
That's why I want to watch it, because I remember when we were doing our urban legend movies, like, I feel like we kind of struggled a little bit, mostly because, like, almost all the urban legends was, like, Bloody Mary, Candyman, you know, and we found our movies, but, like, to hear more, like, there's more, like, South African and stuff like that, like, to hear more about more urban legend monsters of a culture I've never even heard of, like, not heard of, I apologize, that was stupid. Culture I don't know of.
Well, no,
I've never experienced.
No, it's okay, dude. What you're saying, I mean,
I'm word vomiting.
No, I could. To basically what you're saying is that we were ignorant to other folklores from other cultures, but it's understandable because obviously we would know more about the folklore of our own, culture that we grew up in. So it's nice to...
And, like, Japanese culture, and mostly because we watch a lot of Japanese horrors. Yeah, and, like, so to see
and
those... anime, so to see those monsters. And then, of course, Norwegian and stuff. Like, we're huge in Norwegian horror because we're metalheads, so we know about that culture and stuff. So, like, to hear about, South African folklore that I've never heard of, I'm like, I want to see this.
Right. Right, exactly. So I mean, fucking yeah, bravo to both of those movies and the people that are behind them, the directors that made them, and everyone involved. Again, man, The House Invictus, that was a fucking tense movie, man. I can see what you're talking about with a lot of scenes there.
It gets rough.
So yeah, it was fucking nuts, man.
Yeah.
So bravo on that one.
Yeah, but let's stop talking about our last movies, and now let's talk about our movies this week.
Yeah, so a few huge honorable mentions.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Dude, we're word vomiting so bad.
It's
right
also
now.
getting late at night for us. This is
I know.
I don't know. I like how it's the first time we're recording in person again, and of course it's fucking late at
Just
night.
like our original time we did this.
So,
Hey, we
but-
gotta circle back.
Yeah, so honorable mentions. What Keeps You Alive is a fantastic LGBTQ horror film, and it's one that it definitely deserves a lot more attention. It's actually was going to be my original pick for my movie, but unfortunately, there isn't really, at the time of this recording at least, and I'm ricking right now. Excuse me. At the time of this recording, it's only available for purchase on Amazon and not available for rent or other streaming services. But even for a purchase, it's worth it. The synopsis of it is basically majestic mountains and a still lake and a venomous betrayals engulf a female married couple attempting to celebrate their 1-year anniversary. And the story plays out with one of the significant others having a dark secret that her ex-lover kind of shines a light on, and so it starts kind of unraveling these darker and darker secrets, and it's totally worth your time. It Keeps You Alive is a fantastic film. Another one I really enjoyed is Red State. Fucking fantastic. Really touches on
Really hidden
Yeah.
Kevin Smith movie.
Red
State?
Yeah, Kevin Smith. Yeah,
Yeah, Kevin
Sorry,
Smith.
I don't know. I thought Kevin James for a minute. I don't know why.
Dude, I almost said Kevin James. I was thinking the same fucking thing. Because we talked about Kevin Bacon and then Kevin James, because I
Right.
thought that Kevin James movie earlier. Before we
I
started
guess the new
recording.
Kevin Bacon horror film isn't doing too hot, so
Eh,
we'll see. But I'm not going to go to the theater yet, so.
me neither.
Fucking yeah, man. Red State's also a great fucking film that touches on the, strict, horrific, religious extremeness of their worldview on, homosexuality, LGBTQ, racism, all that. It's basically like the Westboro Baptist Church made into a horror film. It's a fucking fantastic movie. Check it out. And also my personal favorite, Cursed, which if it's the right Cursed I'm thinking of, I think it's with Christina Ricci, where that's a werewolf.
Yeah,
film.
okay.
I fucking love that movie.
I need to go rewatch that movie to get the LGBT.
It's between for me. It's between her and her rival.
Okay.
But
okay.
that's me. I want to go back and watch it myself to also get a
because it's
better
been
take on it.
fucking
It's
forever.
I fucking love that movie. It's actually one of my favorite B horror movie guilty pleasure werewolf films. And also it's fucking Christina Ricci. She's Wednesday Addams. How can you fucking not?
And isn't it even a Wes Craven movie?
I think so. I could be mistaken. Anyways, though, the movie I have picked for everyone to check out is one that has gotten a lot of praise around the world, but has still kind of fallen on the wayside of, I don't really know what it is. I've never really heard about it before, but I've been thinking about checking it out, but I don't know if I should. Well, I am here to make the case for you. I decided to do 2013's Stranger by the Lake. Directed by Elaine Guradi and written by Elaine Guradi. Stars Pierre de la Donchamps, Christophe Pau, and Patrick D'Agostino. I think I did that last one right. That last one I actually did try really hard earlier to get down, and I think my starter might have messed it up a bit, so I do apologize for that. But what the synopsis of the film is, summertime, a cruising spot for men tucked away on the shores of a lake. Franck falls in love with Michel, an attractive, potent, and lethally dangerous man. Franck knows this but wants to live out his passion anyway. So,
Ew.
first off, first part I'm going to give this movie right off the fucking bat is that it just starts right away. No fucking panoramic shots, nothing like that. It just starts up with Frank, played by Pierre Delanchamps, walking into the lake where all these gay men are cruising. And so to kind of explain it, I mean, unless you are gay and you already know what cruising is, and I'm not trying to pander to you, I'm only just trying to explain it to those who might not know what it is. Basically, this is a spot where gay men will meet up to hook up, and if anything happens from there, sweet. If not, it doesn't happen. There's no commitments, nothing like that. Some go to find love, some to have a sexual thrill. It's just what it is. It's cruising. That's how I can explain it from my perspective. So if I did that in a terrible way, I do absolutely apologize to anyone, and I do not mean any disrespect by it. But that is where we start off this film, is with Frank coming to this, well, the lake, because that's what the whole movie centers around. And he's cruising around trying to find someone he's attracted to, and he sees this older gentleman who's just sitting by himself, and little Jimin's a little overweight. You know, he's the only guy really amongst the whole beachgoers that isn't, you know, like fit or, you know, semi-fit. He's supposed to stick out like a sore thumb type of character. And the man that we're talking about is named Henry, who's played by Patrick D. Sumkau. So Henry is just kind of sitting here alone, and so Frank takes an interest in him and sits with him, starts talking with him why he's here. And so early on, this is kind of where the movie feels like it's not a horror film, and it's just a drama. In a lot of ways that it is a drama, but it's more of a testament to the sneaking horror that comes throughout this film. It's not a slog dread of a horror. What makes this film a horror film is that we forget that real horror lies within human nature. And I'll talk about that here more in a second. Real quick, I do also want to give a pro to where this film is shot. The beach is fucking breathtaking. It's really beautiful. There's some amazing shots. And there's just one continuous shot that is just... You forget it's like a continuous shot. You just get really warped into it. You feel like you're right there, and it's brilliant. The beach it made this film just that much more worth the investment visually. Eventually, while Frank is talking to Henry, he, you know, sees this other gentleman who's, you know, swimming, in which I've been debating if I'm actually gonna, like, you know, do a warning. I'm not gonna do a warning, but I'm gonna tell you this: there's full-on male frontal nudity. If for any reason that fucking bothers you, just a heads up about it.
I mean, I gave the warning for House Invictus.
Yeah, but this is a French film, like a European film. So this is like,
you should know what you're getting into with a French film.
Yeah, like I mean, it's not a con. Honestly, my response is like, grow up. It's just a fucking penis.
Yeah.
Like if you have one, you
see it every day.
You should be used to it. If you don't have one, you've probably seen it before. It's nothing new.
Yeah.
If you haven't
everyone draws dicks.
If you
dicks are funny.
If you haven't seen one, well, this is welcome to be baptized by fire. There's a lot of dick. So
a little sprinkling of penises.
Just bam. But with that in mind, you know, he sees Michelle, and Michelle's played by Christophe Pau, by the way, and he does just this fantastic fucking job at playing Michelle. You really hate him early on, and that's why I give him a pro, because he does a fantastic fucking job at just being... Well, I'll explain more, but just being a terrible person for the most part. So as it goes on, you know, Frank, you know, starts, you know, fancying him and goes over to talk to him, but Michelle's taken by another person at the time, and so, you know, they were hitting on each other, and the individual who comes up talks to Michelle's like, basically, I've been waiting for you, what's going on? And Michelle's like, I'm just talking to my friend, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so Frank, you know, was upset because he thought he was going to have a shot with Michelle this first time, and it didn't happen. And, you know, you can see Frank is really lustful after Michelle, because he does go into the woods to try and find Michelle early on. But and this is after the first time they met each other.
Yeah.
And so as he's going into the woods, which when cruising, and two lovers find each other, or two men find each other and they want to have sexual relations, whatever the fuck, they all go into the woods and do they make the beast with two backs, and so that's. So they, well, no, I mean, but that's what it is. Like,
okay, no, the reason why I find that really funny is because you using that reference reminds me of the Futurama movie Beast with a Million Backs.
Oh God, yeah,
movie.
that's
and
right.
Well, here's the thing.
I totally forgot about that.
Okay, but the reason why is because I never really got that joke. Because the Beast, in the movie, the Beast is having sex with literally everyone on planet Earth.
Yeah.
So you making that reference, I was like, oh my God, I just got that pun.
Wow, who knew it would have been this episode?
Because I've never heard that saying before. God.
So, but anyways, yeah, so this is where all the gay men are going to make love and hook up and whatnot.
Better. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So as Frank is going to find Michelle, he finds Michelle already, making love with his lover at the time, and so the day goes on, and as the evening starts to creep in, Frank is still just not having much luck with, finding someone this time around with his cruising. And so as he's heading back to collect his stuff from the beach, he sees Michelle in the lake with, Michelle's lover. And then we are now exposed to the scene of, when I mentioned earlier, this continuous one shot is this scene, and it's in other scenes as well, but this one I really want to point out, where Michelle is killing his lover. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not spoiling anything because this literally happens like 25 minutes into the film.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, of a film that's 1 hour and 40 minutes. And so
it's a lengthy film.
Yeah, it's a decent length film. So throughout this entire movie, there isn't really a dread. There isn't really a hint at someone hunting around. There isn't really like a hint at like something paranormal happening. Mm-hmm. It's just a very average day for what we get to experience of what's very average of someone, what they do, which is cruising. So that's where the vulnerability is set in. When we see Michelle killing his lover, that is when we're reminded that sometimes real horror isn't within the bats that fly out of the cave, or the ghosts that haunt us at night, or the witches that supposedly curse us, or the skeletons that want our guts. Sometimes the actual horror lies within human nature itself, as we see Michelle suffocating and drowning his lover in the lake. And at this point, we are seeing Frank experience this entire scene. At this point, the terror does start to set in as every day continues. Now, keep in mind, the movie goes over the time span of like a week, and so we see that terror starts to set in subtle but very human ways with how his personality changes. So when the movie started out, he was very confident. He was, like, he's flamingoing, or not flamingoing, he's peacocking. It's because I said flamingo, because we said pink flamingos, and then also the flamingo boats in Maneater. So that's why. He's peacocking, like, he's trying to, he was very confident. But now when he's in the lake, he's very paranoid. He doesn't know if, Michelle saw him that night, that he saw Michelle kill his lover. He's just looking around, but he still finds, comfort in his friend Henry. I give it that pro too, because it shows how terror and paranoia can set in a person and how it changes their personality. And I'm going to touch back on this a little bit later on within my review. But at this point, eventually they do find the body. And so the investigator is, asking around, what people saw, and eventually gets to asking Frank and Michelle, because now that Michelle doesn't have a lover anymore, he's now fancying Frank, and they're both, obviously, into each other. Frank has been lusting after Michelle, and at this point, the investigator's asking both of them, like, hey, were you here? What have you been doing? Have you seen this person? So on and so forth, as an investigator in a horror movie would. And at this point, you can start to see that a really odd, passive cat and mouse game starts to play out between Michelle and Frank.
Uh-huh.
Burp, Rick. This shit's not fun. I don't know why anybody wants to be able to imitate this.
I am Rick. Shut up, Jerry.
Yeah. No. Michel figures out that Frank was there the night that Michel killed his lover, but Frank won't admit it, and Michel's not going to admit it, obviously, either. Mm-hmm. And so, but Michel's kind of, you can kind of tell that he's, looking at Frank like, are you going to say it? Because I think you were there. Like, are you going to admit it? And you could tell that he figured it out early on.
Yeah.
But Frank is like, no, I'm not going to. Kind of like testing the waters to see if Michel's going to talk about it. And you can see it between the body language between both of them. And so what this really is, and kind of like cements a little bit more on the horror aspect of it, is that love and lust especially will make us do some very terrible things just to have that, adrenaline rush, to have that ride of pleasure that we're lusting after. And so, and this is one point where I'm going to say I can see where this is extremely relatable to a lot of people in the LGBTQI plus community. I can also see it from an outside perspective of how just that makes just an individual feel in general. When we do find someone that we really lust after and crush after, it's because we're lusting after them. And so to be able to experience that fifth element in that utopia or that nirvana, we're willing to lie about some of the terrible things they do sometimes. And obviously, like, this is about murder, but I thought it was
not everyone's like, I love you. Oh, I drowned my partner in the pool.
Well, and it's not even that, but it's also like a denial thing, because you don't want to admit that this person might be that terrible because you fully believe you love them.
Looking at someone through rose-colored glasses.
Exactly. And so, like, this movie does a fantastic job, touching on that. So, and more about that is that Michel's influence over him is so unsettling. You see it, through separate parts of the movie. Keep in mind, Frank is still a very smart person. And one problem I'm going to give into him is that there's a point where they are talking more about what happened, and Frank is trying to, you can kind of tell he's like trying to persuade Michel to admit to it. But, there's a point where Michel wants to go into the water and Frank is so, kind of just like off put by it that he doesn't go into the lake originally with Michel. And he's like, you go for now, I'll come later. Eventually he does go into the lake because, again, coming back to the things we lust for, we eventually start to see that some cars start to go missing as the movie progresses. Like, there is a red car that doesn't appear anymore throughout the film. Because we basically see, all these cars that are parked will come to the beach for cruising, and they eventually start getting less and less here and there. Yeah. What's so great about it as well is that it's touching on the subject of, again, the people that we lust after sometimes aren't the best for us and can actually be very terrible for us. And so that is, the metaphor, and that is who Michel is in this case. Whereas Michel is lust, Henry, the guy that originally that Frank was hanging out with on the beach, the older gentleman, is romance. Because they have this talk, Frank and Henry have this talk when Frank is already with Michel and they're already seeing each other. And they basically have this talk of like, Frank's like, well, it was like, you don't need sex to Henry, and he's like, at this age, why would I need sex? He's like, I'm gonna kind of paraphrase a little bit. The dialogue is worth the watch on its own, but he's like, he's like, my wife, she divorced me, because we basically find out the fact that him, his wife, and another man were all in a three-way. But from what I took of it is that the wife fell for the other man within that three-way and then left Henry. Yeah. And so Henry's just defeated. And that's why he's coming to this beach. But Henry also realized that he, enjoys having sex with men too. And so that's also kind of the reason why they divorced. Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm not going to give it all away. You're going to have to kind of watch it for yourself. Yeah. But, Henry's like, I'm alone. What's the point of being alone? I hate it. And Frank's like, well, you should care about sex. It's pretty important. And he's like, why do you need to have sex in order just to be able to sleep next to each other? And I loved that fucking message, because here's the thing, like, sex is absolutely important. I totally get it. but it's not the make or break deal of
Yeah.
a lasting relationship, especially one that's built on kindness and compassion for your significant other.
Yeah.
And that you can see Henry has for Frank. Like, he has an actual compassion for him, and he's like, because they talk about it, he's like, do you want to be with me? And he's like, yeah. He's like, but not romantically, right? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, your boyfriend Michelle is probably jealous about that. And he's like, yeah. So basically it's that Henry realizes Michelle cannot connect with Frank the way that Henry can connect with Frank.
Yeah.
You know? And
Yeah.
so...
Michelle's more physical, Frank's
Yeah.
and Henry's more emotional.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, like, it kind of touches on, like, the importance of, like, why we should be careful of the things we lust after, because those things could be the most damaging to us. And I think in some facets of our life, whether it is you are straight, whether you are queer, trans, gay, pansexual, fluid, non-binary, or however you identify, I think we've all been in a relationship with someone that we lusted after and has hurt us in some sort of way.
Yeah.
And I loved that that was in this movie. I love that that was touched on. I thought it was done in a brilliant, brilliant way. Eventually, as longer the investigation goes on, the more frustrated you get with Frank, because you're just like, why won't you fucking out Michelle? Why
Yeah.
won't you tell him? I can tell you're having a hard time holding it together. But it's hard to completely demonize someone whose shoes you have won before in some facet. Again, it's about murder. So I would like to think, if you are with someone who has murdered someone, that you have done the right thing and have reported it to whoever at this point. at fucking whoever, or you took it in your own hands. Point being is that I'm sure we've all been with someone in some point in our lives where we have been in that rose-colored denial.
Yeah.
And we don't want to lose this source of happiness that we finally have, this source of acceptance, this source of feeling wanted and loved that we finally have.
Yeah.
And where the movie starts to finally wrap up and end is that the investigator basically has another talk with Frank at a later point. It's just like, we think that there might be a homophobic serial killer. How do you know that there isn't a homophobic serial killer running around? And that right there also spoke volumes to me, because from just a lot of true crime stuff that I kind of listen to, but mostly just research on my own, there is a shocking amount of cases where an individual who either is an extremely closeted individual or just so fucking twisted would pretend to be gay in order to kill other gay men.
Yeah.
And, like, you could see that fear set in Frank at that point.
Yeah.
And so you're just like, holy shit, this is the horror. This is the terror of you trusting someone and loving so much that he might literally be planning to kill you. And in this case, Frank is in that horrible circumstance. This plays out when Henry finally calls Michelle out at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go into a spoiler. So if you don't want me to spoil anything for you for the movie, I am going to tell you to go ahead and skip ahead for, let's do 1 minute. Going in 3, 2, 1. This is now the spoilers. This is your last chance to get away. So with this in mind, Henry eventually goes into the woods and Michelle goes after him and slits Henry's throat. And so Frank is obviously upset by this, and it's just like, oh my god, Henry, you can't die. And Henry's like, no, I've wanted this. I've suffered for so long.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted. And so it's a really sad moment. And then eventually Henry dies, and then so Frank is trying to get away from Michelle, and Michelle's hunting him down, and we get to the scene where it's just getting darker and darker and darker, and Frank is just like getting more paranoid and quiet, and you can hear breathing get louder and louder and louder.
It's so good.
And then, but you realize it's not Frank's breathing that
Yeah.
you're hearing. Because as the screen gets darker, the breathing gets louder, and then it fades to black, and then we're finally introduced to the credits.
That's good.
It's so we're back from the spoilers. If you skipped ahead, this is the end of the spoilers.
Damn, that's a good ending.
Yeah, so Stranger by the Lake is definitely one movie that, even just from the cover of it, is a very beautiful film to look at, but doesn't seem like it's going to have a lot of deep horror in it, but it really does. And no, you're not going to get a gore-filled ride. If I was going to rate it on a buckets, it's definitely at best a 1.5 for gore. But this is a movie where, and I always say this about gore, gore is only as good as how it's executed in the scene it's used in.
Yeah.
And so, with that in mind, it's just a fantastic film. Stranger by the Lake is still right now available on Amazon for rent, and also if you have a Shudder account, you can watch it for free. Its price usually is going for $3.99. It's Strange by the Lake is worth your fucking time. Seriously, this is one of those movies that you're definitely going to go into it being like, I don't see the point, and then if you stick with it, it sneaks up on you, and it catches you. And there was a point where like I was having trouble staying focused with it, and then eventually just fucking got me, and I couldn't look away, and I was just like, holy shit. So a few interesting facts about it. Director Elaine Guirardi. I'm trying my best, really, I am. Based the setting of the film, the lake of the title, on a real lakeside cruising ground he knew. But he did not film at the exact location and chose a different location that was warmer and sunnier. He specifically picked a beach next to a lake as opposed to the one next to a sea because with the sea, the horizon is too far and too wide, and he wanted to constrain the setting. The hardcore shots were filmed using body doubles, as the director thought it would be asking too much of the actors to have sex on camera. He also stated the problem that professional actors couldn't get strong enough erections, so he thought it best to use body doubles. Holy shit, I didn't know that, because it legitimately looked to me like the actors filmed every single sex scene themselves. It's fucking really good too. Which I guess I will.
Oh, that's a fun fact.
Well, hold on real quick. I guess I have to preface as well, just so you guys know, again, if fucking there's like full on like guy on guy sex scenes, I didn't really care for it just because sex.
You don't like sex scenes in general. In movies anyway,
I just don't like sex scenes. It has nothing to do with like the sex or sexual preference. I just get like can we continue the point? I mean, for this movie, I make I'll let it go because
I'd say it's like your argument for gore. It needs to be right. Like you need the sex scene has to add to the actual movie, and not just be like, oh look, titties, or oh look, dick.
Right. You know? And that's what really, and this is why I'm like willing to like let it go for this one, because obviously they need to be able to show why Frank is so lustful after Michelle, and so the sex scenes in this movie are very important for that. Again, and it's not like I'm a prude or anything. I just fucking like get to the point.
One of the fun facts I actually want to read about it. Speaking of that, there was no improv on set. All the scenes were filmed exactly as written, and the dialogue was word for word as in the script. Even the numerous sex scenes between the lead actors were extensively choreographed and rehearsed so that the crew could go on location and film the sex scenes quickly and smoothly. It also put the actors at ease as they had to just mechanically perform what they rehearsed.
Wow.
Yeah. And then one thing that I thought was pretty cool, there is not a single interior shot in the entire film. Filmed completely outdoors, and the entire story takes place outdoors. There's only one location in the movie, the lake, and its surroundings. The director wanted to maintain the unity of space, time, and action as in classical theater, so he based the entire film in a single location as if in a play.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, man, no, that sounds fucking great. Like, I'm gonna have to check out that movie now. For sure.
The Stranger by the Lake.
Yeah, so my movie definitely, I don't feel like has that beautiful hidden undertone that yours did.
I feel like we kind of traded like the depth of message for each, like our movies, because like yours was A House Invictus.
Yeah.
Right. And I can't really talk about the depth of that one without spoiling it. But
slavery's bad, MK.
Yeah, I guess we'll go with that. And then mine just has to do with like, what is it? Like abusive relationships, and to put it in a general term, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, mine does too, to an extent, but
yeah,
we'll get there.
Let's get there.
So I did my movie on the Netflix original, The Perfection. Came out in 2018. It was directed by Richard Shepard, written by Eric C. Carmelo and Richard Shepard. It stars Logan Browning, Allison Williams, and Steven Weber. The synopsis is, when troubled musical prodigy Charlotte seeks out Elizabeth, the new star pupil of her former school, the encounter sends both musicians down a sinister path with shocking consequences. Wrong! She does not seek out Elizabeth in the beginning. She seeks out Elizabeth after she was already fucking invited back to the thing. IMDb for you.
There we go.
So, anyways, to the review. I really enjoyed this movie. I definitely believe it's one of the better Netflix original horrors that they didn't even promote.
Oh yeah, like, I agree.
Yeah, God, everybody needs to check out Eli. Go fuck yourself, Eli.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
Especially compared to this movie.
Eli's just a trash horror film. I don't give a shit who acts in it. I don't give a shit how well they act in it. That's something I can never take away. What I can fucking give a shit for is how fucking stupid the story is, because it has so many fucking plot holes. It's just like, you're gonna get me all mad about it. I know,
I'm sorry. You polish a turd, it's still a turd.
Basically.
So you can have great acting in a terrible movie, it's still a terrible movie.
I can't believe people are willing to fight. Sorry.
I know.
I can't believe people are willing to shit on Ari Aster films, but will not rightfully direct that towards fucking Eli and Sinister 2.
I know.
And The Nun.
Oh my god, man. You know how many people I've actually seen praise Sinister 2?
It's because they suck.
Gross. Like, it weirded me out. Anyways,
those are people I don't want to talk to.
Let's talk about a good movie. So I freaking love the chemistry between the main actresses, Logan Browning and Allison Williams. They hit it off so freaking well in this movie. Holy crap. It was just really, really good.
Well, and also everybody will remember Allison Williams of Get Out fame as the girlfriend from that movie.
Yep, she was also in Girls, if everybody knows that show from HBO. Anyway, so the chemistry between those two actresses is freaking awesome. Like, they just know each other's acting super, super fucking well.
They feed off each other really well.
Really, really well. So it starts off really I like the how it starts off, because it kind of just starts off already showing Charlotte like having issues, and they pretty much talk about like where Charlotte's coming from, because in the beginning, it starts off talking about how Charlotte had to break off from her music career to take care of her mother for 10 years. And so man, you're passing that shit off onto me now. I'm starting to sound
See, I told you. Everybody's like,
it
let it be ready. I'm just like, no, I'd rather take a nail through the foot.
At least it's just only one time. But anyway, so I like how it starts off, because it already shows like Charlotte like in a really weird state. She's sitting in a chair, she's looking at her dead mother, and you hear the women talking about like, oh my gosh, she's such an angel. She gave up her entire life to take care of her mother these past 10 years, and she was so sick. And then it shows Charlotte, and they do this really fucking cool scene where they flash back and she's just screaming real fast, and then it flashes forward to where she's just sitting there.
Right.
And so I really like that. And so then it leads into like Charlotte getting the call like by her old teacher Anton, and him inviting her out, and then she like gets out and about, and she finally meets back up with Anton, and they hug and embrace, and then you see these scars on Charlotte's wrists, and then it does a really quick flashback scene, and I thought it was really, really cool, because it was freaking insane of how like well it did, but it was just like super quick like that, but you still get everything that it needed you to give. So because it shows like really quick, shows her hurting herself, and then all of a sudden she's getting electrotherapy, and then she's in a pool. Like, it's just really good, and I really like that because it gives you such in-depth knowledge of Charlotte's psyche without it going into super hard detail with it. It gives you everything you need really quick, really fast. You know who she is, you know how she is, and you know why she's like kind of like a inside character. She's really introverted at this point, and I really think it's great, because when she finally meets Elizabeth, that's when you start really seeing the chemistry between these actresses, because Lizzie, like, Charlotte starts it off, and like it's really cool because she fangirls on Lizzie, and everyone has had a fanboy fangirl moment where they meet someone that they really respect, that they've loved and heard, and like me geeking out over meeting during our interview with Anthony C. Fuentes. Haha, the plugs are still coming in this episode. And I know I plugged that episode a lot, but that interview was so great. But like, how I was when you told me like we're gonna be interviewing Anthony C. Fuentes, how fucking giddy girl was I?
I know, right?
Like, and just like seeing Charlotte do that in this movie was really cool, because Lizzie flips it on her head and says like, you were my inspiration and everything, because Charlotte's older than Lizzie in this movie, like by a few years. And so Lizzie talks about seeing Charlotte when she was a little girl, and how much that inspired her to become this beautiful musician and this great musician. And so them flirting with each other really brings Charlotte out of her shell. And I like that they really didn't focus a whole lot of time on her introvertness and spent more time on her relationship building with Lizzie, and Charlotte kind of coming out of her own and showing signs that, you know, like, it's okay, I'm okay to be out and about and talk with other human beings and stuff that isn't just my dying mother. And they do all this a really good job in the beginning. And so Lizzie's flirting with Charlotte is so good. When she's flirting with her, you know, like, she does it with stories that she's like, yeah, I've been here for so long, like, I know all the parents' like dirty little secrets and stuff like that. And she goes in this detailed story of how this mom who's sleeping with another dad, and they're not even hiding their affair from everyone, you know. And she's like, yeah, that boldness gets me so wet. Like, that she actually says that, and it's like really cool because like I liked it because they're just hitting it off really well. And at some point they end up convincing Charlotte to actually do a duet with Lizzie. And Charlotte's like, I haven't played in years, I've been taking care of my mom and blah blah blah. And they're like, no, you're a prodigy, you can do this. And holy crap, that musical number is so freaking great. It's so good. And so like they're doing the duet finally with each other and stuff like that. They're playing their cellos. And then I like this because when they're doing this duet, that's when they do the montage of like the scene and really building up Lizzie's and Charlotte's relationship through this montage and stuff like that. And it's through the music, because the music's so freaking beautiful and crisp and precise and just awesome. Like, it just helps with the montage. And like, but the same time, the song that they're playing has this weird little hidden undertone note where it's really deep, and it just kind of builds that dread also, like something might be a little awry. Yeah, there's something a little off, and it's really cool because like it blinds you with the sights, but when you're hearing the music, you're getting another feeling out of it, because it does the montage of their night. And they're having, like, it shows Lizzie and Charlotte finally have sex, and like they hook up and everything, and it's all through this montage. And then it starts off and then jumps to the morning after the song ends, and it really and this is where like it gives the sex scene meaning. Yeah. You know, and it really builds to the story and why it's so important, because Charlotte reveals to Lizzie that she's never slept with anybody before. Because Lizzie's like, am I the first girl you've ever slept with? She's like, I have been taking care of my mom for the past 10 years since I was like 12 or like 14. So I haven't had sex with anybody. Like, she's like, you're my first. If you know my story, you would see why. So it's like, but it like that revelations like gives that scene, the sex scene, so much meaning. And it really puts the craziness when it happens, and it really puts the craziness in perspective when it happens, and it makes it super nuts because it like really builds this relationship that Charlotte and Lizzie are falling in love. They're falling for each other, like, even if though it was just like really quick with the like, you know, their relationship building is just through that montage and stuff. It like really puts things in perspective and really helps out their motivations through the movie. And so one con that I have, though, Charlotte notices a tattoo on Lizzie that you see on Charlotte earlier in the movie. It's just a musical note on her back. Yeah. And so the one thing that bugs the shit out of me, and it's a big con, is so it like flashes forward a little bit, and they've been in an established relationship for a little while. But if they're having sex and seeing each other naked as much as the movie alludes to, how has Lizzie never seen the tattoo on Charlotte? Right. You know what I mean?
I guess you're just talking about, like, how has she not caught, like, a glimpse?
Yeah, how is she? Yeah, exactly. So that's a kind of a con like, that I have about like the movie.
Making out, like, hey, do you have a huge fucking mole on your neck?
Yeah, or not even just that. She's obviously has seen Charlotte naked from behind at this point, too, because it's on her, like, on their shoulder blade. So it's like just that one, that's just like a small little loophole in my head where I'm like, or plot hole, sorry, that I'm like, but I can, like, let it go. Yeah. Because once that all happens, and Lizzie starts talking about how she's kind of feeling sick. Charlotte's like, "Do you want to stay home? Like, we can just stay in the hotel and fuck and watch movies." Like, she's like, "We can just do that." And Lizzie's like, "No, we're on vacation. We need to enjoy it, live our life and stuff." So it's like, it's cool because like it shows that it's more hints of the introvertness of Charlotte there, and Lizzie being like, "No, we need to be more outgoing. We need to go do stuff." And it like that's another thing that helps Charlotte come out of her shell, and that character building is really good. But when Lizzie starts really getting sick, and they get on this bus trip, and she gets sick on the bus, holy fuck, shit gets real.
Yeah.
Like, so that's when shit starts getting nuts. So Lizzie's talking about how she's super sick and stuff, and she like throws up on the window, and Charlotte's like leading into it, like, "Oh my god, is that bugs?" And so then it does like this hallucination, where you see Lizzie hallucinating, like seeing the bugs in her puke. But if you notice 2 seconds before, it's just the puke on the window. Like it gives you small little glimpses of like something might not be right. This is where like it's really subtle, just like the subtle notes in the song they were playing of like something's a little off here. And so that entire scene is really fucking cool because like they're by the way, they're also in a foreign country. I can't remember exactly where it's. I think it's China. So they're in China. Yeah, because it's Shanghai. So they're in China. And so, you know, the language barrier between them and the rest of the people is like really good because Charlotte's screaming, "You ain't need to get her a doctor. Like, stop the fucking bus." And no one really knows what they're saying because, you know, language barrier. But that entire scene gets super crazy because like Lizzie starts freaking out from seeing bugs in her puke, and then she starts freaking out even more, and she's like, "I'm gonna shit myself, we need to get off this bus." And like the bus driver's like freaking the fuck out, yelling at him and stuff like that. And so they get off the bus, and the bus driver just kicks them off, and like Charlotte's freaking the fuck out because like all this stuff is happening. She's like, "She needs a doctor." And then shit gets really real at that point. Like that's when like this huge fucking twist happens. And so I'm going to give a quick little 30-second spoiler. Spoiler in 3, 2, 1. So once again, this is a spoiler. You have a couple seconds to turn back. But yeah, so after they get kicked off the bus, Lizzie starts freaking out saying, "There's bugs in my arm, they're in my arm." And like they bust out of her arm, and then they go up her hand, and fucking Charlotte just pulls out a hatchet and just goes, "You know what you need to do."
Yeah.
And fucking Lizzie cuts her hand off like immediately, and then it does a flash backwards, like it rewinds time, and it shows all these scenes again, except from Charlotte's point of view, where she's drugging and poisoning Lizzie and like giving her all these stuff. And that's the end of the spoiler, but she's given all these hints of what ends up happening on the bus. Like, you know, it's I forget what it's called, but oh my gosh, where you say something to try and get someone to believe it, and they don't believe it at first, but then they start believing it more because you planting seeds, like basically is what happens.
Grooming.
Yeah, kind of. And yeah, basically. And so that ends up happening, and it's fucking insane, and it's so cool, and I loved that twist. It was such a cool twist, and I think it was great. So as good as the rest of this movie was after the second twist that happens, and it is fantastic, I felt like it was just a trope that played out too much of the evil school.
Okay.
Small spoiler, but like you end up finding out like the school is evil, and like the head, and of course, you know, all the teachers were evil people, and I'm not going to give the reasons what they do if why they're evil, but to me I just felt like that trope was played out so much because I was more invested in just Lizzie and Charlotte and that story they could have told of the, like a possible jealous older famous person, jealous of the new protege that's like better, you know, that could be better. Instead of grooming her to be better than her, you know, the jealousy gets in, and like, you know, you see the mind games, and it plays out like why she did everything that she did up to this point. And when they do the twist of the evil teachers and the evil like school and stuff like that, it kind of left a small bitter taste in my mouth. But what I'm gonna give them is at least they go fucking full evil, like full evil with the whole entire thing. Not occult evil, but like they are terrible human beings.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I at least like, is that they really own it. And instead of like even the bad guy like making justifications for it or whatever, it's just like he's just so far gone and so far evil. Like they fucking own it, and that's what makes up for it. Because like what thing that I really liked about it is because when the evil teacher gets confronted finally by one of the main characters, I'm gonna drop names because this is where it'll spoil everything. Where they get confronted by one of the main actresses, the evil teacher, like, he just goes, no, what are you talking about? To just, I know. I did the things I did because it made you better. Like, that's just instant. Like, it was really cool, and I really, really liked that. And so that's what made up for that small bitter taste of like, oh, God, of course, it's an evil school. And when they go full evil in this movie, like, they show some harsh things that happen. And it makes so much more sense of, like, what these characters go through and why one of the main characters do what they do. And that also, at that point, that's when the gore really starts picking up for all you gore fiends. Because, like, you see a hand get chopped off, and then they do a really realistic death scene, which I was really, really appreciated in this movie. When you die, you release all bodily functions. Like, whatever's in you is coming out at that point.
Yeah.
And so there's a point in the movie where there's this where one of the evil teachers is killed, but you don't know it yet because the person just walks into the room, and then one of the other evil teachers like, are you okay? What's wrong? And then she ends up peeing all over the floor, and then they push her over and there's a knife in her back. So I was like, oh, that's pretty good detail. That's nifty. You never really see that. I thought that was really cool.
Super dad.
But yeah, so like that's one really, really cool scene in there. Sorry, I don't want to like talk about too many of the scenes because it's a really big spoiler, because it's a double twist that happens really fast, and if I tell any more into the scenes, it'll kind of ruin it. But another thing that I really did like about the movie is, so they have this scene in the beginning where they do a rewind to show why this scene ends. Like, they rewind and replay everything that you just saw from a different perspective, and so they do it again for the third ending twist. There's 3 twists in this movie, but for the third twist, which is the good twist, which gives us the happy ending. And as you all know me, I'm not huge on happy endings, like, but for this movie, it made sense once they did the whole evil school thing, and it fit really well. And it was actually kind of nice, and it was definitely a nice palate cleanser to have an actual happy ending with no ooh, like, what if, maybe. It was like, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Another thing that I liked about this movie is that I talked about my Monday review. Until the evil school happens, this is why it kind of left a bitter taste in my mouth, is that the way it was playing off everything in the beginning was that you could take either Charlotte or Lizzie and replace them with the opposite gender, and it would still work. Because to me, again, that shows how far along these movies have come towards equality, because you could have replaced them in the beginning and it still would have told the same story. You know what I mean? But another thing that I really, really liked about this movie is it also has a really good undertone message of mental health and dealing with trauma. Because one of the biggest things is that for some people, it either takes one big instance or it takes time to get over the trauma that you went through, and it is okay to ask and get help. And that's one of the undertones that I really liked about this movie too. Going a little bit more, this movie is really, really good. I highly recommend it because it has great acting and great chemistry between the main actresses, and they do a really good job on talking about how, like, the sexuality between Charlotte and Lizzie is really, really good. Because for Charlotte, she never knew, what her sexuality was, because she didn't date anybody or anything. As you find out, in the movie, they say that, Lizzie was the first person she's ever been with. And so it's really cool there for me, because I'm like, oh, fucking cool. Like, it's just showing her butting into her sexuality normally. Like, I find that person attractive, male, female, didn't matter. I wanted, she found her attractive. And of course, you find other things out later on. But the fact that they stick together, like, is really cool. Finishing on those notes, I really like the meanings and the undertones of, like, it's okay with your, figuring out your sexuality whenever, no matter how old you are, because Charlotte's in her late or mid to late 20s in this movie when she finally figures that out. But it's also okay to know, like, with the mental health also, that sometimes it will take one big oh shit moment for you to figure out, like, I need help. Or it just takes time, because for Charlotte, she had the time time to figure out she needed help with the trauma that she dealt with. While for Lizzie, it took a really big oh shit moment of like revelation for it. But yeah, so I really do recommend this movie. It's on Netflix. Like I said, it's a Netflix original, so if you have a Netflix account, it's going to be on there. A couple quick trivia things for this movie is when Anton is showing the chapel to new student Zhang Li, he asks her to sing a musical note, specifically an A sharp. The note Zhang Li that then sings is indeed a perfect A sharp, which would indicate Zhang Li has perfect pitch, a rare talent only exceptional musicians possess, in which they are able to sing or identify any note by ear. That's a really cool fun fact about that, because that's one of the driving points of this movie too, is the fact that both Charlotte and Lizzie were so musically talented, and that's why like they went to this school. And also Charlotte was just so musically gifted that even after she went 10 years without touching a cello, she played a perfect melody with Lizzie on their first go. And so like this whole thing is also about building up the fact that, you know, you could have this perfect talent, but something can still take that away and ruin it for you without any regards to your own wants and needs. That life can get away, because Charlotte had to like give up her dreams to take care of her mom. But you know what? It's okay, because everyone will get to that point at their own pace and when they need to. Because she ended up finding herself and finding her love and her life at a slower rate than Lizzie did, because life got in the way for Charlotte, but she still found her way there. So I also like the fact that it's like, it's okay. You don't have to get there right away. Things will get there when they need to.
Right.
So highly recommend this movie. Buckets of Blood rating, I would say probably a 3.5 to a 4, because it doesn't really come out till the end, but when it does happen, it fucking happens. Yeah, that was my review on The Perfection.
You can watch it on Netflix.
Yeah, you can watch it on Netflix again. Netflix original.
Obviously. Oh, with that in mind, ghouls, gals, creeps, moons, that brings us to another end of a fantastic movie review episode. If you want to keep up with everything we're doing, you know where to follow us. Like us and follow us on Facebook, search Punk Rock Horror Podcast, or Twitter at @officialPRHP, or
on Instagram, Punk Rock Horror Podcast, #PRHP Podcast.
You can also follow me on there at the Undead Matt. Thank you again, ghouls, gals, creeps, moons, for just being fantastic supporters, listeners, and fans all across the nation and the world. You all are amazing. We love the living shit out of every single one of you. Thank you so much. Tune in again next time when we talk about horror with you again. Bye.
Bye.